in supporting the Academy and for letting me express my voice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Lindsay McGrath. All right.
Hello, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for your time. I come here. My name is Lindsay McGrath. I am currently a G1 teacher. I was a paraprofessional. I've been on the foundation. I've been a resident of Westlake for, I think, 5 years now. And in my previous life, I was also in advertising and PR. So I approach this with my very different perspectives. And I can kind of get all spun up in different ways. But I want to just come at this and ask you to breathe and to pause. This decision is not coming off of a great year. This decision is coming off of a very highly emotional year and a very, very emotional summer. There was really, really big backlash after the departure of Dr. Wilson. And the fabulous faculty members didn't pause. They kept going, and they showed up, and they said, we are amazing, we are Westlake, and we're going to keep on doing what we do. But we need you to pause. Please don't rush into this decision hastily. There's no need. You have put in place someone who is fantastic. She's fantastic. She is capable. She brings the knowledge, the law, everything that we need in that position right now. She also brings that nurturing continuity that we need. We cannot have a year that is disrupted. We need to show our fellow community members that we have it together, and we are the Westlake that everybody speaks about and wants to be a part of. So please, just pause. Just pause. And let Ms. Anderson, let her do this year. Let her show you what she's made of, and let her bring that connection back to the role and to the school. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
I got a question. Stan, are we allowed to reply if this is on the agenda? So I might clarify the process.
You can reply factually. You can't enter into a dialogue.
Okay, I'll do that, if I may, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I want to apologize. There is some terrible miscommunication going on. Nobody's been hired. The special session was called to get a candidate that some of us think is a good candidate, further interviews with council members. That's it. I have full expectations that we will include the community and we will include teachers and staff, but how this got off the rails is beyond me. I swear to you, that is the truth, and that is where we are. So all of this stuff going on is just political theater. Nothing has been decided. I helped drive. I just want this candidate interviewed by 2 of the other council members. That's it. Thank you.
Factually, everyone's been offered that already.
And factually, thank you all for being here, but we did totally endorse Carolyn, and we were on the path of let's pause, I love that word, and let's get through this transition, and maybe she's the right one, or maybe we have a lot of candidates in the spring. That's the last thing I ever heard before all this erupted. So that's all I know.
Yeah, I just want to add my 2 cents for what it's worth. I also did not understand what tonight's meeting was about. I think last time when we all met as a council, we spoke with a potential candidate as a recruiting firm, and we agreed we take up this matter on September 11, which is the next council meeting. So I think this is a surprise to some of us as well.
The origin of this meeting tonight was there's several ways of setting up a meeting. You have a calendar meeting set by the council, right? The mayor can call a meeting. Or option 3 is 3 council members can request a meeting. And on Friday, within about 15 or 20 minute time frame, 3 council members emailed requesting to have a Wednesday 6 o'clock meeting, emergency meeting, about head of school.
Correct.
And so the first person who originated the email was Victor Sansone, and that's tonight. We have the agenda item on there talking about attendance, and we had missed 5 meetings actually this summer.
That agenda item was tabled, Mayor.
Okay, it's a factual speech here, and with that said, the sequence of those events prompted concerns from people in town regarding Open Meetings Act, and so that was it. So let's go on with our 3-minute speech here.
Well, I guess I get a second to explain why I called the meeting. You know, the head of school is one of 50 things this council needs higher level of urgency around. I would like to see us act more like a corporate board. I come from the corporate world where we address problems with a high sense of urgency and comprehensively and inclusively. After Councilman Graves asked multiple times to have this issue put on our agenda and was ignored, really was forced to this action. Not because of this candidate, somebody that I want to jam into the role. There's nothing could be farther from the truth. Simply that we as a group, because of open meetings, can't really discuss things as a group. So in order to discuss things as a group, the mayor has to consent to put something on the agenda.
Actually,
And that,
actually,
can I have my time, please?
Go ahead.
So, you know, we can request things to be put on the agenda, and, you know, after a number of misses on this front, and seeing that we had a very good candidate that a handful of us interviewed, including the mayor. I've spoken to this gentleman one time. He was an incredible candidate. He's in a situation where, you know, our time frame and window with him may be limited. I thought September 11th was too far in the future. And so the only thing that I had the option of doing was trying to accelerate this conversation as a group. I had no intention of this becoming a public spectacle. It was called in closed session. We didn't need to make a public spectacle about it. We should have just got together for an hour and said, is this a guy that we care about or not? And that's how I thought this was going to go down. So this charade and everybody getting freaked out about what we may or may not do tonight, you know, my full intention for tonight was to get all of us in a room so that we could share our thoughts on this one particular candidate, whether we want to keep moving him forward through the system, and also to just update our process. Yeah, we agreed that it's not a good time of year to be recruiting heads of school. But just like we all want to sell our houses in the spring, I mean, sometimes we're forced to do things off market. And I wanted to make sure that us as a council agreed, where everybody's voice was heard, of the timing of potentially hiring a consulting firm to assist us in this process, and then what to do, what's the protocol between now and then, should we get introduced to a candidate that we should consider. Should we ignore it? Should we start the process now and put that person in the process? These are the things that I would like to discuss tonight in closed session. That was why I called the meeting.
And I'd like to say just a couple words as well to chime in. As a council, I have fought very hard for us to be an empowered and active council. And as you just heard Victor Sansone say, we can only be that way if we meet and we talk and we take action. And that's the part that has been very challenging this year, and we've tried to address this internally all year. Let me give you 2 examples. We meet twice a month. Between January and May this year, the mayor canceled half those meetings without consent of council. And when you look at scheduled meetings, which were approved last fall for the calendar year of 2023, beyond just the canceled meetings, which was almost 50% in the first half of this year, several meetings were also rescheduled. Now, many of us still have work lives and children lives, and I travel quite frequently for work. My 2 missing absences were due to rearranged last-minute rescheduling. So when we talk about attendance, we really have to keep that in perspective, and that's why I voted to table this motion on attendance. In terms of the head of school, I really believe that the process could have been more streamlined if council had more say and more direction in the process, and that has been frustrating. And so I do agree with Kim and Victor that the council needs to be more proactive and taking the powers that the ordinances do give us to try to take action and move this forward. After all, we all want the same thing. Want a very qualified, aligned in spirit and philosophy and tactics in a head of school. The question is, how are we going to get there and when are we going to get there? And this meeting will hopefully explore those further.
Thank you. Folks, at the end of every meeting, council can add something to the agenda. It takes a first and a second. You can watch every video. It's never been done. Let's go on. Next is Marcus Novacek.
Good evening. I'm going to reiterate some of the points that have already been spoken and then bring up a few others. I want to start with a line from the communique that was sent out on June 16th. It says, a subcommittee, including the mayor, members of the Board of Trustees, school principals, and parents will provide input into this inclusive process. Frankly, all summer, we've heard nothing until now. You've excluded parents from the process. It's irresponsible and frankly unprofessional. Last spring, I expressed to almost every one of you that both my wife and I were willing to be part of the process. I'm confident that other parents feel similarly, that you've excluded us from the process. The last two heads of school, frankly, were poor hires, in my opinion. The first one was out of touch, aloof, a poor leader. She lacked the will to enforce standards of discipline. You replaced her with a dishonest, lying, manipulative, unqualified, though very well-spoken individual with, frankly, no moral compass. But so more than anything, as we go forward, the main quality that the new head, in my opinion, needs to have, they need to have an unwavering commitment to character, integrity, and honesty. I believe that we have a bullying problem, a kindness problem, and a cheating problem at our school. Unless it starts at the top, holding yourselves and administrators responsible, things will not change for the better. You only held Mr. Wilson responsible, remotely responsible, after he had unilaterally lied to numerous parents, spread rumors and destroyed the reputation of other parents, and then finally disobeyed town council's directives. The only way this gets better, or this gets corrected and get the process, is to get the process right. And that starts with letting parents have a voice at the table as well. It should be well represented. Residents, as well as lottery parents, parents of able-bodied and disabled, minority represented, socioeconomic represented, and the parents of PYP, MYP, and DP students. Lastly, in the last 12 months, you have modified the school motto, the student handbook, the code of conduct, as well as reorganized the school with no parental input, or worse, receiving input and just ignoring it. So again, in summary, please get it right, get the process right, invite parents to the table to have a voice. Again, my wife and I are both willing to serve in that capacity, and we'd like to have a committee formed this week so that we can talk to the candidates and have more say in the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a couple of emails to read. Melissa DeMoss, here. An email. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll read for her. Dear board members, I have an obligation tonight and cannot attend the meeting tonight. I'm expressing my concern regarding hiring a new head of school. I have heard the decision could be one of two candidates. I can empathize with opinions for and against each candidate. My primary concern is regarding the process. I'm advocating for a process that includes all stakeholders, a process that allows the school to get to know the candidates, and make the best decision for the school. Westlake is often under a public spotlight. We just want to do our best. Collectively, we can achieve excellence. A quick decision does not allude to excellence. Please support a fair, detailed process as we decide on an individual to fill that significant role. Thanks. Then Shelley Butler, here. To whom it may concern. As a stakeholder of Westlake Academy, it's important that you consider the input of individuals that are on the front lines of our beloved academy. As a teacher, we'd love to have our voices heard and search for our head of school. Please consider having a panel of educators within the process. We need to keep with consistency for the well-being of our students, families, and our community. At this time, we feel very strongly that Carolyn Anderson is the best option for the head of school. She knows our students, our staff, our families, as well as other stakeholders within our community. I implore you to come on to campus and speak with the staff members across all programs to fully understand how your decision will directly impact the daily lives of the educators. We love Westlake Academy, and we love to watch it flourish with forward-thinking vision. We respect your decisions as a councilman and women and have to hope that the process will be done through a thorough search. Thank you for your time. Renee Barr. Is she here? Oh, you don't need, okay. Diane Nelson. To whom it may concern, as a stakeholder of Westlake Academy, it's important that you consider the input of teachers who are in the front lines. Okay, it looks like it's the same email. Okay, and then Aaron Welch. Hey folks, I would like to put together a quote for the installation. Oh, sorry, wrong. Wayne, why don't you come on up?
Wayne Stoltenberg, 2006 Rock Dove Court, Westlake, obviously. I sat where y'all sit not that long ago, and I was on the board when there was a hiring process, not the latest one, but the one before that, and I thought it was a terrible process. And for what it's worth, I was very vocal about it at the time. The board had essentially no input. The town manager, it was viewed as the process was town manager, school's a department of the town. It's like hiring a fire chief or a public works officer, or the head of public works. The town manager makes the call. As a board member, I was able to meet the person they were going to hire after the offer had already been made and essentially accepted. Terrible process. But I didn't win. I didn't put anything out on social media expressing displeasure or just didn't handle it that way. I let folks on the board know, and the mayor wasn't happy with it, but you know, you win some, you lose some. What kind of a process should we have? This is not that hard. I've talked to many of you individually. Only one at a time, Stan, so we didn't have an Open Meetings Act issue. But yeah, how do other high-regarded, high-performing educational institutions find a leader? Okay, it's not rocket science, guys. Here's how it works. The board forms a search committee. And I know this because the private school I went to in Wilmington, Delaware, that's a pretty high-performing place, did this about the same time we were hiring for the process that I was involved with, Dr. Bryson. And Columbia University, where I went to college, just did it. We hired I think she's our 7th or 8th president. Well, what did they do? They look shockingly similar. The board forms a search committee. That search committee is composed of some board members, not necessarily all, folks who have time to do it, some board members, some leaders at the school participate in that, and some parents. And that's your search committee. And you find folks that have obviously been involved for a while at the school, know the school, and have time to do it. That's your committee, and you hire a search firm to kind of organize the process. They get candidates in. I would not use the same search firm we hired the last 2 times. My understanding is they excluded folks that generally have a private school background. We got 800 kids in the school, plus give or take. That's not big school ISD, so we shouldn't do that. I talked to the search firm. We went through it. He, wasn't particularly interested in what I had to say in terms of who we got to look for. I wouldn't use the same search firm. I'd use somebody that is better involved has some experience finding a leader at a school, generally our size, it's entrepreneurial. But sort of that's kind of what you do. And ultimately, you get input from all the people on the committee, which is going to involve leaders at school, parents, some board members, and then you guys make the call because you're the board, and you answer to the town residents. The town owns the school. That's how you ought to do it. If there's anything in any handbook that sort of doesn't describe it that way, we have a lawyer here. Let's rewrite it so we have a good process that's documented. This isn't hard. I hope yeah. I'm almost done.
No, keep going.
I'm almost done. That's how I do it. We'd have a great candidate. You know, if it's awesome and you really think we ought to do it, you know, leave that to your judgment. You'll be judged for it, good or bad. So, you know, let's see how that plays out. Lastly, in terms of conduct on the board, Sean, an open thing like group meet is not where you conduct sort of town business or air dirty laundry. It's just not good. I wouldn't do it. And Vic, you don't respond to that sort of stuff. You just don't. So guys, if you want to sort of be treated like adults, you need to act like adults. So let's do that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
See, did we already get Linda? Did Linda already come up? Yeah. Linda, did you already come up? Linda? Do you want to speak?
Anyway, yes, Linda Bjorn, 6010 Stagecoach Circle, Westlake, Texas.
Good
Sorry.
shirt.
Mwah. Need some water. So, yes, well, one thing I wanted to do first was I have supported every single one of the people on this board because I honestly believe that every single one of you in your heart has the very common goal to do what is best for Westlake and what is best for Westlake Academy. I have no doubt in my mind on that. And so I think, you know, based upon things that have happened this past year is really, let's look at lessons learned, you know, some very good points brought forward by the leadership of our school and community tonight to come together as a team and work out what are those lessons learned and shake hands. Good game. Let's go on to the next game and really make it happen on the next round. It's like we've had some chatter that's, you know, not pleasant, wasn't good for the rest of us to hear, you know, what appeared to be negativity going across back and forth. You know, we want and we believe in you all, and we want you to come together and do what's right by our school and by our community to reach those common goals. And I honestly believe that every single one of you has the heart and mind, soul, and talent to do that and has no underlying agenda to do anything but that. So as an example, I wanted to point out something very positive was one of the things that I think every one of you ran on, and I've been substituting at the school and substituting in those portable buildings, which were just the awful, God, nastiest things that I've ever kind of been in. And so I want to congratulate all of you for coming together. After coming together for just a year, you know, we've had those, for 9 years, 10 years, and you guys as a team were able to come together with the community, bring those buildings, shut down the towns, you know, to get those buildings in on time. And thank God we've got more than one bathroom that actually works in there, Ms. Dill, yes, which was right next to her room there. So, yeah, the plumber. So I just want that kind of teamwork and activity to occur going forward because we can't afford to do anything but the best thing that's for this school. And just one other quick example that Principal Harding brought up about, we need an IB leader, but we also need somebody that does understand the Texas education rules because my daughter, who was in the second class, was actually impacted. And it was almost very, very, a very severe impact, but thank goodness she was able to recover from it. But as an example, is somebody not understanding the requirements to have a Texas state diploma required the physics, the physics course program. And they went, oh my gosh, we don't have physics, we have to have a physics. So what did they do? We had an online summer program to teach physics. And if anybody's taken physics, you know that it's hard enough having a really good physics teacher to teach physics, but to have to go through it online and try to figure out what's going on. And my daughter's very, very bright, smart girl, but she struggled, when she went to Tulane for a chemical engineering degree, she really struggled in that, and that almost turned her off from the technical program in there But thank God she recovered. She aced her next physics class and was able to do it. But STEM is too important. We can't just have somebody that's an IB humanities, that just understands the humanities part of it, because that was the initial focus in the school before we understood that STEM was an extremely important part of our, for our nation to go forward and to have great leaders and great innovativeness. We've got to have a very strong STEM. And in order to be able to recruit and retain strong math, science is even more difficult than, and we want to retain the great teachers that we've got here, and we don't want to have it look like we don't have leadership to support that. So I appreciate every one of you stepping up, serving for our team. Let's shake hands at the end, lessons learned, and plow forward. Positive.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
Linda.
have one last one. Crystal Shiner. You want to go? No. All right. Okay. That's it for the public input section. Here, let me go find paperwork here. Next up is the closed executive session, 23-224. The town will conduct a closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, annotated Chapter 551, Subchapter D, for the following. Do you guys want to make this an open session or keep it closed? I mean, you sure? I mean, we had a social media post advertising all our executive sessions.
It's an executive session, Mayor. We'll keep it that way.
Okay.
I think we should keep it open.
I think we should keep it open too.
All these people came to hear what you think.
I'm
Let's
okay
hear
with
it.
it staying open as well.
At first, unopen.
Okay, a second?
I will second keeping it open.
All right. All in favor of keeping it open, say aye.
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 All in favor of keeping it closed? Say no.
No.
Abstain? Victor?
Yeah,
All right, let's keep it open then. Okay.
You wanted to be heard, you're going to be heard.
Mayor, just one caution, if we are keeping this open, and Stan can correct this if I'm incorrect, but we make sure we don't use any names of candidates or anything like that.
Oh, sure. Before we start, let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll organize ourselves and we'll go from there.